Grab your hat and let's go! Hello everyone, welcome back to Pawsitive Comedy! Woo! I'm actually really glad to be back because I've been gone for, I think, almost a month now. So I'm so excited to see you all again. But I don't want to waste too much time because today we have a fun challenge. So on LeetCode, there is a daily challenge, and it's question number 2326, and it's Spiral Matrix 4. So since I only have 30 minutes, I'm going to try to learn this problem as fast as possible and try to have a working solution as fast as possible. But before I get started, I want to go ahead and go over this problem, go over what it's looking for, and then I also want to show a little trick that I did to try to figure out what was going on in the problem. So essentially, these are the instructions. So you are given two integers, m and n. Those could be any letters, but they just chose m and n, which represent the dimensions of a matrix. You are also given the head of a linked list of integers. So a linked list is essentially just it's a list of numbers. So essentially, you can think of it as, let's say you have a box and you have something stored in it. Let's say you have the number 3 stored, and then there's another box that's attached to it. Let's say it has number 4 stored, and then let's say you have another box attached to that. That's a really small box. These are all equivalent in size, but you get the idea. So let's say it has 5 in it. So essentially, how I'm reading this, when it's given the head of a linked list of integers, so we have a pointer or just a reference called head, and this marks the starting place of the linked list. And then if I look at the value of head, it's going to be 3. And then if I want to see the values of any other values in the linked list, then I have to move this head forward. And that's usually used with the next property, which I'll show later on. So yeah, that's pretty much essentially what a linked list is, at least in my experience. Okay, so generate a m by n matrix that contains the integers in the linked list presented in spiral order, clockwise, starting from the top left of the matrix. If there are remaining empty spaces, fill them with -1, and then return the generated matrix. Okay, I'm going to be honest, I actually don't have a ton of experience with working with a matrix, so that's fun. I have worked with a linked list before, but I haven't really done a matrix, so this will be exciting. Okay, so looks like this is the spiral matrix. So let's also look at, so this part here was automatically generated for me. I did not write this. Like, I didn't write these comments, and I didn't write, well, I did write this stuff, but I didn't write anything else above that. So pretty much this line. So if you notice, we have a spiral matrix. Oh my gosh, hang on. Spiral matrix function. I'll just go ahead and hang on. I'm gonna hide this so not to confuse everybody. Okay, there you go. So we have our function right here. So we have our parameters. Looks like we have 3. So we have integer m, integer n, and then we have our pointer, which is head, which is just going to look at our spiral linked list. Okay, so it looks like, let's say m was 3 and n was 5. So essentially, something that's really important to note about this is that m is representing the number of rows and n is representing the number of columns. Because as you can see, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns across. Let me undo that. And then we have 1, 2, 3 rows. Okay, at least that's how I'm reading it. Okay, and then the head, so this looks like it's storing the entire linked list, but we have to know that it's going to start right where 3 is. So it's starting at 3, which is the top left of the matrix, and it's going to 0, then it's going to 2, then it's going to 6. But in order for me to access those numbers, I would have to move the head pointer. Okay. And so essentially, when you run this through the function, it's supposed to print out well, it looks like this is the matrix. No pun intended. So it looks like the first list is 30268, which is literally just this row. And then the second list is 50 negative 1 negative 1 1, which is this row. And then we have 52497, which is this row right here. Okay, one important thing though, and to be honest, I actually missed this the first time I was reading over this problem. So it mentioned before we had to fill empty spaces with negative 1. So notice in this head list, we don't have negative 1 here. In fact, we only have, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 numbers here. And so, we only have 13 here, but we actually need 15 because 5 times 3 is 15. And I got 5 times 3 because of m and n. I just multiplied them together because it's an m by n matrix. So the matrix has to have 15 slots. So I guess something to figure out is how to know where the empty slots are, which I think that's where the spiral comes in. Because if we look at this again, so it goes from 3 to 0 to 2 to 6 to 8, down to 1, down to 7, 9, 4, 2, 5, 5, 0. Okay. So then it just replaces the empty spots after the last number in the list. Because that's just kind of how it worked spiral-wise. Okay, cool. So looks like we're understanding that pretty well. Or at least I am. If you're completely lost, let me know either in the YouTube comments or the Twitch chat. However, I won't be able to see YouTube comments until after 10:30 PST, so I apologize in advance, but if there's questions, go to the Twitch chat. There's also a Discord server too with people in there as well. Okay, so that's example 1. Let's look at example 2 real fast, just so that we understand the problem. Okay, so m equals 1, n equals 4. Okay, so we have 1 row and then 4 columns. And then it's literally just 0, 1, 2. And then it looks like we just fill that with negative 1. Because that's an empty box, and 4 times 1, which is m times n, is 4. Okay, cool. So then it prints out 0, 1, 2, negative 1. Okay. The diagram above shows how the values are printed from left to right in the matrix. The last space in the matrix is set to negative 1. Okay. Awesome. So here are some constraints that we can look at. Honestly, those don't look super concerning. Okay, cool. So something that I want to figure out in my head though real fast is how to get this output. Because it looks like it's going by row, like by the entire... Because it looks like the output needs to go by row, because it's 30268 and then 50 negative 1 negative 1 1 and then 52497. So we need to turn this spiral pattern into a more linear pattern in the end. Okay, that actually does make sense. So let's see, 3268, that's equivalent to this, and then this 50 negative 1 negative 1 1. Wow, it's coming from this. And then also this. So in our program, we definitely need to make sure that we are traveling along the spiral matrix correctly. And then as we travel along it, that we're saving the values. This is an interesting problem. I feel like, okay, my first thought is maybe as we travel through the spiral matrix, we can generate an object that stores the matrix linearly like this. I feel like that might be a good approach. There could be multiple approaches to this though, so if you have a better one you want to do, feel free to do that yourself. Okay, so again, this is what was generated, but I will admit I was fooling around before this stream. And oh my gosh, I only have 20 minutes left. This is crazy. Okay. So I wanted to show something. I ended up making a matrix object. So essentially all this is doing is it's making a blank box with the number of rows, which are denoted by M, and the number of columns, which is denoted by N. The reason why this is a -1 is because, so, okay, in this example, M equals 3 and N equals 5, right? And the reason why we have a -1 here is because these columns are denoted starting at 0. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it doesn't go up to 5. It would have to go up to 4. So that's the reasoning for why we have a -1 here. Okay. So that's honestly a pretty good starting spot. But what I wanted to show was how to access the linked list values, because that was something that got me a little bit confused at first. Just because in this code, you know, usually like when I'm programming a full-on program and I'm like in charge of it and can see everything, see all the files, then I'm able to see where my structures are, and in this case I can't because it's behind the scenes. So we kind of just have to trust that the list is there, because when this is running through the test cases, those values are being fed into this function, and they could be anything in order to have test cases. So, but we need to start with an empty vector. So I'm actually going to go ahead and name this empty vector, or sorry, matrix. Empty matrix. Okay. And then I'll denote this by M times N. Okay. So, this is honestly a way to do very, not expensive debugging. If you have the debugger tool, honestly, you can use it. Unfortunately, I'm on a budget right now, and so I do not have premium, but if you have premium, go right ahead. I do not, so I'm doing the old-fashioned way of using print statements. This is C++, so a print statement, I'm pretty much just putting something in my standard output, which is how you print something on the screen. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm finding the value of the first item in my list. So that's why this is head arrow val. Val stands for value. And then I'm moving my head pointer. So essentially what this is doing, let's say I have my list. And let's say, I'm not going to put values in here, but just for this example. So let's say this is my linked list. Let's say it only has 3 objects in it. Then I can, so my head is right here, and then this line 19, this prints the value of the value in this box, which let's just say it's 3. Now, the line below it, line 20, moves head to the next value. So then when line 21 prints out, it'll print out maybe like 4, if that is the value stored in the second box. So that's how you want to move, you might want to move your head in order to value in order to access the values. I almost said values the access. So that's really helpful. That's something that I feel like, at least in the past for me, I got stuck on that concept for way too long. So hopefully that can help you. Now, since I only have 15 minutes left, I'm definitely going to take a very interesting approach, but before I do, I don't want to spoil anything. So if you're doing this problem yourself, go ahead and pause the video, and then after you're done going through the problem yourself, go ahead and continue the video, because I'm going to go ahead and use a solution that I generated with ChatGPT, but I'm going to fix it, because it's not completed yet. And it might be broken. And for today, I definitely want to practice the skills of fixing code. But I am going to keep, I am going to go ahead and keep these print statements out here for debugging. Oh, I did forget to show what this actually does. Wow. Whoops. Okay, so if I run this how it is, I love how there's a speed up option here. Okay, and of course it's not done yet, so it's going to be wrong. But you see this standard output box, and it printed out 3 and 0. So it printed out the first value right here, and the second value below it, which is 0. So yeah, I forgot to show that. Sorry if you unpaused and you were thinking, oh, shoot. Hopefully that saves you. Okay, but now go ahead and pause the video if you want to work on this from scratch. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and show another option because, okay, I remember when I started LeetCode a few years ago. I will admit I haven't done LeetCode in a little while, so can't wait to get back into it. But there's literally a solutions option here, which can be really tempting to look at, and it's also really tempting to generate a solution on ChatGPT. But to be honest, I don't really like doing that. But what I do like using it for is trying to figure out how to learn these types of patterns fast and trying to learn how to fix code fast. So essentially what I did was I just told ChatGPT, and also this is the free version, by the way. I just told them what problem I just said I wanted to help train programmers how to read code in order to fix it. Because something that I keep hearing is really common, at least from the people I'm talking to, is like you are given a bunch of code, but it's broken, and you have to learn how to fix it. So you don't necessarily code everything from scratch. And so I was like, okay, but I also don't want to use ChatGPT to just generate the solutions for me. Just like I don't really want to spoil the full solution for myself either. So essentially what I did is I asked it to give me the solution, but replace some parts with a fill-in component and a little explanation on what to do there, so that it can kind of lead me through each step of the code, and then I could figure out what's missing. And then if it's still broken, fix it from there. So it's kind of a cool way to speed it up, especially since I only have 12 minutes left. So this is essentially what it did. However, there was something, oh yeah, this was written in Python, and I was not happy with that because I wanted to do C++. But if you want to do Python, go ahead. So I asked it to just rewrite this in C++, and then I also provided the pre-written code that LeetCode just automatically provides to set it up correctly, just so that the setup was correct, because otherwise I would have had to fix it. Now I thought it was interesting. I'm going to go over and just kind of add little parts at a time and fix it, because if I add this whole thing at once, there's going to be so much broken, and it's going to be really hard to tell what it is. And I want to understand what's actually going on in this solution. This is just one solution. There could be multiple solutions as well. I do want to stress that. So I do want to warn, if you do this to like get started with LeetCode and like filling in what's missing, because that could be a good exercise. I would also challenge you to figure out how to make it more efficient too, because that will kind of help get you thinking about another possible solution, and then you have more code to work with and you can change it as you see fit. Okay, so essentially, we already have, let's see, so this is the function, which we already have it. Now I thought it was interesting though that it included the list node class. I don't think we need this in our code, because I think this is already provided. Especially since when I was running it and I was able to print values, and I'm even able to see what's in the head pointer, I feel like that's already done for us, so I'm not gonna bother with that unless there's problems. Okay, so we have the result matrix, which is the empty one that I was explaining before with the n-1. I already have this part, so I'm gonna ignore that. Okay, now this one is interesting. So this recommendation was to initialize boundaries, which kind of makes sense because we are going, since it's a spiral matrix, we are going to be traveling up, down, left, right. And so it looks like this is just initializing how far we can go, because if you try to go to more columns to the right than you can actually go, then you will get an error. I think it's it might be a segmentation fault, but I might be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But let's go ahead. I think this is probably important so that we can traverse the spiral. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Oh yeah, and then also, if you also ever do this, you always want to, if you ever like submit your code, oh, not Python, whoops. Uh-oh. I just like started a screenshot and that was a mistake. Okay, so I'm gonna say developed with aid by ChatGPT on 9/9/24, just so that people know that it's not completely from scratch. Okay, because yeah, the purpose was to fix it. Okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, I'm going to also make this bigger so that's easier to, you know, read and stuff. Okay, so essentially I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'm going to comment this stuff out. This stuff will be helpful later on when we add more code. Okay, so we're going to initialize boundaries. So this is cool because it gives me a hint on what to do. So set this to the last row index. Oh, I don't want it to tell me which one it was. It's okay. That's fine. I might have to adjust my prompt to say don't give me the answers in the comments. Because that made it way too easy, man. It's okay. At least I can follow instructions. I mean, to be honest, I was already able to see that, so it doesn't spoil it too much, but for someone else, no. Hopefully this isn't too mean, but I feel like that's important. Okay, to understand that. So essentially what I'm doing here, so remember that M represents M represents the number of rows. And so that's why we have that. We have M minus 1 because in the list, this is going to be accessed at index 0, index 1, and index 2. It doesn't go to 3, so that's why we do M minus 1. And then for going to the right, it's also going to be accessed as 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It doesn't go to 5. If you do, it doesn't exist. It's impossible. And it breaks things. So that's why we have borders like that. And then yeah, okay. Now, something I'm a little bit confused about though is why they have top 0 and left at 0. I don't think I agree with that. Because oh, no, wait. Actually, I think I do agree with that. Well, it depends on how they use it later because, okay, because this is probably, I think, is this the starting place? We'll work with it. Okay, I might have to fix that later though. We'll see. Okay, pointer to traverse the linked list. Okay, to be honest, I don't think we need to do this because we can already access it with the variable in our parameter, which is head. However, oh, actually, okay, that actually might be good. So essentially this is making a new pointer and setting it equal to head, which actually might be good because before when I was using those print statements, how I said head equals next, the bad thing is that you can't go back. Like after, I don't think anyway, unless there's a new, yeah, no, there's no previous. Oh, so yeah, once you go next, I don't think you can go back. I think you lose the box that you were previously at. At least that's what it looks like. Because yeah, it's a singly linked list. Oh, shoot. Okay, well, in that case, we actually do need that. Okay, and then let me look at this while loop. Okay, let's actually, I'm going to go ahead and copy this whole thing. And then we'll look at it. Because it looks like it's just traversing. Okay, cool. Wow, okay, this actually doesn't look that bad. So I'll go ahead and copy this whole thing then. And then we'll work with it from there. Okay, let me go ahead and just make this bigger. Okay, let me make sure all the indentation is correct. Let me make sure, so that ends the while loop, and then this should end. Haha, this is funny. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this. I made a duplicate of the bottom by mistake. Okay, cool. This actually doesn't look that bad. Okay, so we initialize boundaries. I'm questioning these, but we'll go back to those. So we make a copy of the pointer, which makes sense so that we don't lose our progress. Okay, so we traverse while the boundaries are valid and we haven't filled the entire matrix. Okay, fair. So you continue while top is less than or equal to bottom and left is less than or equal to right, and there's still elements in the linked list. So top when it starts is going to be, oh, I think I understand. Okay, so I'm pretty sure these are set to 0 because that's where we're starting at. We start at the top left. at 0. It's 0, 0. And then we go down or to the right. I feel like we could name these something else because these are kind of contradictory to each other, but okay, I think that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this in with, so top has to be less than or equal to bottom, and left has to be less than or equal to right, which makes sense because if it was equal to right, we'd be all the way over to the right, and if top equals bottom, then we'd be all the way at the bottom and we can't go further in the matrix. Okay, cool. And then we just want to make sure that it actually exists, because if we're fed in our parameter a value that's empty, then we don't want this while loop to happen. Okay, cool. Loop from the left to the right boundary. So I think we're just traversing left to right along the top row as needed. So this is a for loop. So it looks like we're starting at 0, which is correct. Okay, and then let's see. So loop from the left to the right. Oh, okay. So I think we just do this while I is less than or equal to, I want to say right, because we're traversing from left to right. Cool. Awesome. Also, I see in the Twitch chat, it says use variable for storing the direction. I like that advice. I feel like that would be a little bit better of an approach. Because, okay, the one thing that I don't really like how ChatGPT used this, because I feel like it would be easier just to store like the coordinates that you're at, right? Like 0, 0, and then store the coordinate all the way to the right that you can go and all the way down that you can go, and then just store that and travel it as need be. I feel like that would be, you know, that would be definitely a better approach. So if you're working with this on your own, definitely consider that too. Okay, cool. So let's see. Fill the current position with the value from the linked list node. Oh, yes. Okay, so we're at a certain, so we're at a particular location in the linked list, and we actually have to put that in the matrix when we come across it. So I think this is going to be, hang on, let me actually think about this for a second. Ooh, okay. For the current position with the value. So we have to figure out where our current position is, which is going to be, the current position with the value. Okay, well, we know where I is, so that is going to be, oh my gosh, my mind just went, awesome. Okay, and then Chad also mentioned, look at the rectangle only case as well, because yeah, moving up and down wouldn't work in that scenario as well. Okay, you know, I don't know if I'm a big fan of this approach, because yeah, it looks like it's traversing from left to right along the top row, and then from top to bottom, and then right to left, and then bottom to top, but it's completely missing the, yeah, it's completely missing the rectangle only case, which was in example 2 over here. Man, we're gonna have to fix a lot of this. Okay, so I think you know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and rewrite a lot of this because I don't like it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm gonna go ahead and, some of this might be helpful. I'm gonna go ahead and comment it out real fast. Okay, and then something that I want to try is do a different variable for direction, just so that it's easier to keep track. The only thing, I guess, well, okay, actually, no, we can do that. So if I did int direction is equal to, we could do, I could do an array. so that I can keep track of what I'm kind of viewing this as coordinates. But I also want to have some bounds. So I want to make sure that I can't go further than m equals 1 when I go down. The only thing to note is for the rectangle only case as well. So, and then as well as for the direction switching, that chat also mentioned in the Twitch chat. So, okay, I want to go ahead and start with this. And then I want to make sure I have my bounds. So I want to go ahead and do, I'll call this bottom bound. And I'll set this equal to n-1. And then I'll do right bound. And then we'll set this to n-1. Okay. I'm going to get rid of that for now. Okay. So, okay, and now I have my linked list. Okay, perfect. So let's say I'm going to go all the way to the right. So while I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to rewrite this. Okay, so if I'm just starting at 0, 0, then I want to go all the way to the right first. So go all the way to the right. I'll go ahead and uncomment this part. And then I'll keep that one for loop so that I can edit it. I'm going to comment out the rest. Okay, so okay. Let me look at this again. Or wait. Okay. Let's see. So if I go all the way to the right, then while if I did like direction 0, 1 is less than or equal to my right bound, and my current isn't null, then I can keep going from left to right along the top row. So if I is less than or equal to right bound, and then I feel like, okay, so if I'm going, this is going to be at, well, the first time it's going to be at 0, but that's going to have to change, isn't it? Let's see. Okay, so actually, this can be at maybe the x coordinate, because I think, hang on. So if I'm starting at the, yeah, that's definitely going to be it. So I feel like, okay, if I started at, I feel like I just made this more complicated, didn't I? Oh, I feel like I'm so close though at the same time. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm just trying to get the x coordinate. So I feel, oh no. No. This is not, hang on. I'm viewing this as like a double double array, and it's not. It's just a single one. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is going to be the, wait a minute. Okay, so if that's the number of columns, okay, that should be right. And then this is from left to right. Okay, now this is the first, yeah. Okay. Okay, perfect. And then we'll go ahead and make this, now this part I'm pretty sure is right, because we're just gonna go to the next, next spot on the list. Okay, now I want to go ahead and just make sure that this is working correctly. Oh, this is important though. Hang on, I'll comment out that for now. Okay. Now I want to go ahead and just print out what happens and see if there's any bugs. Okay. So head, or no, I'll print out what's in the matrix actually. Perfect. And that. Okay. I just pressed escape as if I was in Vim, and I almost did :W, which was really funny. Okay, cool. I feel like, hang on. Okay, I think I got all of that. Okay, this is like super, we're not even close to finishing it, but I want to see what happens here first. Okay, so I'm definitely missing stuff. Let me, okay, line 13. What did I do? Okay, so we got the solution. We've got this, which I know that's fine. I know that's fine. I think I have a missing bracket somewhere. Okay, let me make sure that I have, oh, I am missing a bracket. I think. Okay, so that's the while bracket. And then, okay, that should be fine. Okay, I wondered if that was gonna happen. Okay. Expected variable name. Okay, I feel like I did this incorrectly. I think it was parentheses. Okay, now there is a problem here. Okay, so I want to go ahead and hang on. I'm reading chat, and this is actually a really, really good point. I want to go ahead and see if I can actually put it on the screen real fast, because it's a really, really good point. Okay. Okay, so Rayified says your previous decision is almost perfect. Need only wrap each block on if with direction check and add a direction change in each block and add a break after each block. Okay, I definitely agree with that as well, because yeah, we're definitely going to have to make sure that we have a change in direction, which yeah, I'm definitely missing in my code. So yep, I 100% agree with that. I feel like the you know, I did play with a lot of this, and I need to fix this too, because I think I just have a syntax error here. But if I will say, if others are doing this as well and they had similar code to what I had earlier, with all of these loops that go in different directions, just make sure you also have a test case for what, for example, 2, when it's just one row, because that'll be really important. And that was something that our fellow followers in the Twitch chat mentioned as well. Okay, so unfortunately, I am beyond my 30-minute time. I went on to 40 minutes, which is okay. And honestly, given that this is my first LeetCoding stream, this went all right. I will say though, I want to continue working on this problem throughout the day. And then if I get a solution, I'll go ahead and post it in the YouTube comment section as well. And if there are others working on this problem for today's daily question and are looking for help, feel free to put those questions, because we have a lot of people, well, we don't have a lot of people yet because we're brand new, but there are people in the community that know this stuff as well and that can also help. So feel free to visit that. We also have a Discord channel as well. I need to make a LeetCode channel for questions specifically, but there's definitely opportunities there as well. I'll go ahead and end it for now. And I hope I'm actually going to continue the next daily question for tomorrow as well. And I hope that all of your LeetCode practice sessions go swell. All right, see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.